At first glance, a border might seem like just a line. Thin, invisible, harmless. But the world's borders are anything but simple. Some are carved through living rooms, others slice mountains in half, or even bend time itself. In the corner of Europe, you can drink coffee in Belgium and pay for it in the Netherlands. Elsewhere, a single zipline lets you glide across nations in seconds. These are the places where maps lose their minds, where treaties, errors, and accidents created boundaries so strange they defy logic. You'll find a US town trapped inside Canada, a desert no one on Earth will claim, and an invisible line in the Caribbean where one side is green jungle and the other bare dust. Some borders are shorter than a football field, others climb to the peak of Mount Everest, or stretch across decades of time between Russia and America. There are even borders that change hands every 6 months, and one, the Korean DMZ, where landmines and wild tigers share the same no man's land. And finally, in a small Dutch-Belgian village, the border runs right through homes, splitting families, cafés, and lives in two. These are not just lines on a map. They are puzzles, paradoxes, places where politics met chaos and the earth refused to cooperate. So buckle up, because we're crossing into the world's 10 weirdest borders, where reality bends, history stumbles, and geography has a sense of humor. Crossing a border here doesn't mean waiting in line or showing a passport. It means soaring through the air. Between the Spanish village of Sanlúcar de Guadiana and the Portuguese town of Alcutim, a single cable stretches across the Guadiana River, connecting two nations in the most unconventional way. Known as Limite Zero, this 720-meter zipline carries travelers from Spain into Portugal in less than a minute. As you glide above the water, the wind in your face, you also slip 1 hour back in time. Portugal runs an hour behind Spain. There's no checkpoint, no officer, no stamp in your passport. Just a rush of air, a streak of freedom, and the rare joy of flying across a border that exists only on a map. Some borders don't separate. They isolate. The northwest angle, a tiny corner of Minnesota, is the only part of the contiguous United States north of the 49th parallel, and it's only reachable by driving through Canada or boating across a frozen lake. This strange exclave was created by a map error in 1783, when negotiators misread an old chart while drawing the US-Canada border. Today, barely 100 people live here, cut off from the rest of their own country. The only border station is a lonely booth at Jim's Corner, where travelers pick up a video phone to declare their crossing to US or Canadian customs. It's quiet, remote, and surreal. A small patch of America that feels forgotten, trapped by history and ice. In a world where every inch of land is claimed, Baarle-Hertog stands as a paradox. A piece of earth no country wants. This 2,000 square kilometer triangle of desert lies between Egypt and Sudan, born from two conflicting colonial borders. If Egypt claims it, it loses the larger and more valuable Halayib Triangle. If Sudan claims it, the same happens in reverse. So both countries refuse it. No flags, no borders, no citizens. Just terra nullius. Land belonging to no one. Over the years, adventurers have tried to claim it as their own kingdoms, including an American father who founded it so his daughter could be a princess. But the desert remains empty, hot, and silent. A monument to how political pride can make even the earth itself unwanted. From space, it's one of the most shocking borders on Earth. On one side, lush green forests. On the other, barren brown hills. The line dividing Haiti and the Dominican Republic is visible even from orbit, a perfect scar between two nations sharing one island. The contrast tells a tragic story. Over decades, Haiti's forests were cut down for fuel and survival, while the Dominican Republic enforced conservation laws and reforestation programs. Today, Haiti's forest cover is below 5%, compared to over 40% in the Dominican Republic. Crossing this border isn't just a change in country. It's like stepping from one world into another, a living symbol of how politics and poverty can reshape even the land itself. At first glance, Peñón de Vélez de la Gomera looks like nothing more than a rocky outcrop. But this tiny Spanish fortress on the North African coast holds a world record. It shares the shortest international land border on Earth, just 86 meters long. Once an island, it became a peninsula in 1934 when a storm pushed sand against it, connecting it to Morocco and accidentally creating a border. The Spanish military still guards it, but only a handful of soldiers remain. A lonely post between continents, history, and waves. It's a reminder that even nature itself sometimes redraws the lines that humans thought were permanent. Most borders lie flat, but the one between China and Nepal pierces the sky. The summit of Mount Everest, the world's highest peak, marks the exact line dividing the two nations. Climbers ascending from opposite sides can literally meet at the top, or shout across countries. At 8,848.86 meters, it's the highest border on Earth. Yet even here, politics reach the clouds. During the pandemic, China reportedly drew a separation line on the summit to prevent climbers from mixing. It's absurd, poetic, and very human. A boundary between nations etched into the roof of the world. In the middle of the icy Bering Strait, two tiny islands face each other across a narrow stretch of water. One belongs to Russia, Big Diomede. The other, just 3.8 kilometers away, belongs to the US, Little Diomede. Between them runs not just an international border, but the international date line. That means Russia's island is 21 hours ahead of America's. Locals call them the Yesterday and Tomorrow Islands. On clear days, you can stand in the US and look directly into tomorrow, or, from the Russian side, gaze into yesterday. In winter, when the water freezes, an ice bridge sometimes forms between them, a forbidden pathway between two worlds, separated by time itself. In the quiet waters of the Bidassoa River lies Pheasant Island, a place so peaceful you'd never guess it changes countries twice a year. By a centuries-old treaty, this tiny island is a condominium, jointly owned by France and Spain, with sovereignty alternating every 6 months. Every February and August, officials from both nations meet for a small ceremonial handover. There's no population, no border guard, and no argument. Just a centuries-long rhythm of cooperation. It's a rare example of nations not dividing land, but sharing it, proving that some borders can unite instead of separate. Stretching 250 kilometers across the Korean peninsula, the Demilitarized Zone, DMZ, is the most fortified border on Earth. A scar between North and South Korea filled with mines, fences, and soldiers. But here's the strange twist. Because no humans live there, it's become an accidental nature reserve. Endangered animals like red-crowned cranes and Korean leopards roam freely among the ruins of war. The same land that divides a people has given rare species a place to thrive. It's a paradox of beauty and tension, proof that even in humanity's darkest divides, nature finds a way back. Nowhere on Earth is a border more confusing or more charming than in Baarle, a patchwork town split between Belgium and the Netherlands. The border weaves through houses, bakeries, and even bedrooms. White crosses and tiles on the ground mark the invisible line, and in some cafés, one half of your table is in a different country than the other. There are 22 Belgian enclaves and 8 Dutch counter-enclaves here, a maze born from medieval treaties and centuries of land swaps. Residents have adapted. Taxes depend on where your front door sits, not your living room. It's geography gone mad, a place where borders are not walls, but puzzles, and where two countries manage to live together, literally, under one roof. From ziplines to pyramids of politics, these borders remind us that the lines dividing nations are rarely straight. They twist through time, mountains, and human mistakes. Some separate peace from war. Others divide yesterday from tomorrow. Borders are supposed to define the world, yet the weirdest ones show how the world often refuses to be defined. In the end, every border tells a story of history, pride, or chance. And perhaps the strangest truth of all is that these invisible lines, drawn by humans, may outlast the civilizations that created them.